never thought I would spend the most terrifying night of my life in a seemingly innocuous place, like a library. But since that night in September 2018, I have never been alone in a library again. Even now, 5 years later. When I hear the sound of pages being turned, my whole body shivers. My name is Emily Richardson. I was a graduate student at the University of Vermont. The town of Burlington is a small, quiet place where people forget to lock their doors at night. I worked part-time at the library, mostly on the night shift. The Billings Library was the oldest building on campus, built in 1885, filled with red brick walls and narrow, dark hallways. Most nights were monotonous. I would put away books, check study rooms, and make sure no one was asleep. The library closed at 11 p.m., and I had to clean up and lock everything up until midnight. But that night was different. It was a Thursday in late September. There was a storm outside. The wind was blowing so hard that the old library windows were shaking. At 10:45 p.m., I sent the last few students out, locked the main door, and started my checklist. I went to the third floor first, where the special collections were kept. That place always made me a little uneasy. The lighting was dim, the ceilings were low, and the books were so old that they gave off a strange smell, like a mix of paper and time. I quickly checked the rooms and turned to go downstairs. Just then, I heard it, a sound, very light, like someone putting a book away. "Hello?" I called out. "We're closed. You need to leave." No answer came. My heart rate began to race. Maybe a student had fallen asleep, I thought. But something didn't feel right. The sound came from the rare book section, where I had just been, 2 minutes before. I started walking toward it, my flashlight on. The bookshelves stood tall on either side, casting shadows that seemed to move. "Seriously, whoever you are, the library is closed. I need you to..." I stopped. Ahead, in the middle of the bookshelves, stood a figure. Its back was to me. But it wasn't the position that stopped me. It was the stillness. It wasn't moving at all. It didn't even seem to be breathing. "Excuse me," I said, my throat shaking. "You can't be here." The figure turned, slowly, and what I saw still haunts me. It was a woman, but her face was wrong. Absolutely wrong. The eyes were too big, too round, and they weren't blinking. The mouth was twisted into a smile, but it wasn't an ordinary smile. It was too wide, too unnatural, as if the muscles in her face were pulling in the wrong direction. She leaned in and whispered, "The library never closes." I stepped back, my flashlight shaking in my hand. "I'm calling security," I said, reaching into my pocket for my phone. But when I looked up, she was gone. Completely gone. I ran toward the stairs, my breathing ragged. I had only one thought in my head. Get out. Get out now. But when I reached the second floor, I heard that sound again. The sound of books being put away. This time, it came from behind me. I turned, swinging the flashlight around. Nothing. Then, I noticed the bookshelf. About 50 books. They were all upside down. Just a few seconds ago, they had been perfectly fine. I was sure of it. My hands were shaking as I picked up an old hardcover book with no title. I slowly opened it. Inside, on every single page, the same words were written over and over again. "She sees you. She sees you. She sees you." I dropped the book. It clattered to the floor. I picked up another one. The same thing. "She sees you. She sees you. She sees you." I broke down. I ran towards the stairs, my legs completely out of control. I reached the first floor, heading straight for the main desk where my bag and keys were. But when I got there, I froze. In front of the desk, on the floor, there was a circle, drawn in something red, like blood. Inside the circle was a strange, ancient-looking symbol, and right in the middle of that circle was my phone, the phone that was supposed to be in my pocket. I quickly checked my pocket. It was empty. No, 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 I whispered. Then I heard that voice, right next to my ear, cold, hollow. "You shouldn't have come here tonight. Emily!" I screamed. I ran for the main door, my hand trembling as I forced the key into the lock. The door burst open and I ran out into the pouring rain, never looking back. The next day I told campus security everything. They searched the library. There was no circle, no flipped books. The security footage showed that no one else had been in the building all night, but me. Except for one thing that they couldn't explain. In the footage, at exactly 11:18, a camera on the third floor vaguely captured something. A woman, wearing a long white dress, standing among the bookshelves. But she had no face, just a black, empty space. I quit my job that day. I will never know what really happened that night, but sometimes, when I'm all alone in the dark, I can still hear that whisper. "You shouldn't have come here tonight, Emily." I never believed in the supernatural until I found that book at the Crescent Falls Public Library. Now I understand that some things are meant to be buried. Some words should never be read. My name is Marcus Webb, and I was the head librarian in the town of Crescent Falls, Oregon. The town is small, only 6,000 people, mostly in the lumber business. The library was built in the 1930s, part of a WPA project with a stone foundation and heavy wooden beams. I had been working there for 15 years, and I knew every corner. In November 2020, we received a donation. About 2,000 books from the old Callaway estate. Arthur Callaway was a wealthy businessman in town who died in 1968. His family was selling the house, and they wanted to give us his collection. The books arrived in boxes, covered in dust, and filled with the smell of old paper. My two colleagues, Jessica and Tom, and I began sorting through them. What was worth keeping? What was worth throwing away? What was worth selling? Most of it was ordinary stuff. Classic novels, history books, reference materials. But after 3 days of work, we opened an old trunk in the basement that had been set aside. Inside were about 30 books, all bound in leather, no publisher marks. They were handwritten in old languages, some Latin, some in languages I didn't recognize. "Creepy," Jessica said, wrinkling her nose. "Maybe we should just toss these." But I was intrigued. I picked up one of the books, a thick volume bound in black leather with no title. I opened it. On the first page was written in Old English, "The Book of Whispers, to call what sleeps, to bind what wakes." "What the hell?" I muttered. "Marcus, seriously, that looks like witchcraft stuff," Tom said, trying to laugh. "Let's not bring that energy in here." But I kept reading. The next few pages were instructions, rituals, incantations, and pictures of strange, distorted-faced creatures rising from the ground. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe for historical value, I thought. Maybe just curiosity. But that night, after Jessica and Tom left, I brought the book to my desk and started reading. It was occult material, summoning rituals, protection spells, ways to communicate with the Silent Ones. Most of it seemed crazy. But one part caught my eye. To hear the whispers, speak the words at the witching hour. To see beyond, open the veil where silence dwells. At the bottom was a short verse in a strange language. I shouldn't have, but I read it out loud. "Solum in tenebris, vocanci dormiunt, aperitiviam, For a moment, nothing happened. Then, all the lights in the library went out. I sat down in my chair and froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Power outage, I told myself. Just a power outage. But then, I heard it. Whispers. Very faint, as if coming from a great distance. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but they were coming from all directions. From the walls, from the floor, from the bookshelves. I turned on my phone's flashlight and froze. The library was full of people. No, not people. Figures. Shadows. They stood between the bookshelves near the tables in front of the walls, all very still. All looking at me. Oh God, I whispered. They had no faces, just black, empty space. But I could feel them staring at me. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. Close it, a voice said directly inside my head. Close the door you opened. How? I screamed. How do I close it? Read the verse backward. Now. My hands were shaking as I picked up the book. I found the verse and tried to read it backwards, my mouth going completely dry. Viam aperit, qui dormiont vocant, tenebris in solum. In an instant, the figures disappeared. The whispers stopped. The lights came back on. I sat there, breathless, sweating. The book lay in my hands, open to the page. But now, below the verse, a new sentence was written. In fresh ink, you have been marked. They will return. I threw the book away, panting. I went home that night, leaving the book on my desk. The next day, when I came back, the book was gone. Jessica said she hadn't seen it. Neither had Tom. The security footage showed no one entering my office. But where the book had been, there was a burn mark on the floor. Circular. Just like the one I saw in the picture inside the book. It's been 3 years. I'm still in Crescent Falls, still working in the library. But every night, at exactly 3 a.m., I wake up and I hear whispers from inside my bedroom wall. Some libraries aren't built to store books. Some libraries are built to hide. And at the Harlow County Library in Mississippi, the worst thing that was hidden was in the basement. My name is Rachel Dominguez, and I started working at the Harlow County Library in 2021 as an assistant librarian. The town was small, old cotton country, where most people knew each other. The library was built in the 1950s, a simple brick building, but the inside was dark, cold, even in the summer. My boss was an older woman, Mrs. Evelyn Price, who had worked there for almost 40 years. She was strict, didn't talk much, but she loved her job. And she gave me one rule, on my very first day. Never, she said, looking me straight in the eye. Go into the basement alone. If you need something from down there, you get me first. I laughed, thinking she was kidding. Why? Is it haunted? She didn't laugh. Just don't. The first 2 months were good. I sorted books, helped patrons, organized events. There was no reason to go to the basement. It was just for storage, old files, and broken furniture. But then, Mrs. Price had a heart attack and was hospitalized. I was running the library by myself when one day a teenager came in and asked if she could look at old yearbooks from the 1980s. I knew they were in the basement. I opened the door. The stairs went down into the dark, an old light bulb giving off a faint glow. I went down, the wood creaking with each step. The basement was cold, damp, and smelled of mildew. The shelves were filled with boxes, old records, forgotten books. I started looking for the yearbook box. As I was looking, I noticed a door. It was on the back wall, made of heavy metal and closed with a padlock. I had never seen it before. I stepped forward, shining my flashlight. The padlock was old, rusty, and on the door there were scratches, deep, jagged scratches, as if someone had tried to get out from inside. I felt a chill run down my spine. Then, I heard something, scratching, from inside. I stepped back, my breath caught. "Hello?" I called, my voice shaking. The scratching stopped. Then a voice, very soft, said, "Let me out." It was a girl's voice, young, scared. "Who's in there?" I asked. "Please," the voice said. "Please let me out. It's been so long." My hand went to the padlock, but something stopped me. "How long have you been in there?" I asked. A pause. Then, "Since 1983. My blood ran cold. That's not possible." "Please," the voice said, more urgent now. "Please, I just want to go home. I just want to see my mom." My hands were shaking. I grabbed the padlock. Then, I noticed something on the wall next to the door. Scratches. Words. Scratched deeply into the concrete. "Do not open. Keep her inside. She is not a child." I stepped back, my heart pounding in my chest. The voice from behind the door changed. It wasn't a girl anymore. It was deep, rasping, like many voices speaking at once. "Open the door!" I screamed and ran up the stairs, slamming the door shut. I was panting, shaking. That evening, Mrs. Price called from the hospital. "Rachel," she said, her voice tired. "Did you go to the basement?" Yes, I admitted. I heard someone behind the locked door. A long silence. Then, "Did you open it?" "No." "Good," she said. "Don't ever. That door stays locked, Rachel. It has to." "But what's inside?" I asked. She took a deep breath. "In 1983, a girl disappeared in this town. Her name was Sarah Bellamy. She was 9 years old. They found her 3 days later, in the library basement." My stomach twisted. "What happened to her?" "She was alive when they found her," Mrs. Price said, her voice shaking. "But she wasn't herself. She kept saying something was inside her, something that came through the walls. They tried to help her, but she attacked people, hurt them badly. So they locked her up," I whispered. "They didn't have a choice, and when the police came to take her to a hospital, she..." Mrs. Price stopped. "She killed 2 officers, so they sealed the room. They said she died in there. But what? I've worked here for 40 years, Rachel, and every few years, someone hears her, asking to be let out." I covered my face with my hand. The town decided it was better to leave her, to let the library be her tomb. I quit that day, but sometimes, at night, I still hear that voice. "Let me out." And I wonder how long that padlock will hold.